On some nights, the injury report is minimal. On others, it is extensive and important. This is one of those nights. To the field, and Andrea Kramer.
Hello, Al. Well, it's so dire for the Colts that they're going to dress only 44 players tonight, one below the norm. But the pain is really felt on the offensive side of the ball. They'll have only 17 active players, including 2 tight ends and 3 wide receivers total. So how will the Colts adjust? Well, Peyton Manning told me it kills him to say it, but they'll have to be more basic. They will move Reggie Wayne around a little bit more, and they'll have to just pick their shots with him when they go downfield.
And as John said, they'll also go into a huddle from time to time. Harrison out. Gonzalez, their top draft choice, out. Clark suffered a concussion last week. Hugo's the rookie left tackle. He'll miss his 3rd game in a row. Keaho and Hagler are starting linebackers, and Brock, who rotates in at defensive tackle, is also out. And the Chargers say, we don't care. We're missing Quentin Jammer, our cornerback, Nick Hardwick, the Pro Bowl center, and Luis Castillo, the outstanding defensive end who had ankle surgery. So San Diego has its own troubles.
Well, like Norv Turner says, and Tony Dungy says the same thing, you can't worry about the injured. You have to worry about the guys you have right now, and they have to step up and play well.
Vinatieri kicks off. That's residual smoke from the fireworks and not fog. Darren Sproles to run it back past the 30, and a good run back for San Diego on the opening kickoff. He's past the 40, inside the 30. He's going to go all the way to the end zone for a touchdown. 89 yards for Darren Sproles at 5'6" and 180 pounds.
You know, the other day we were talking to Norv Turner, and he says, you know, everyone talks about our offense and our defense. He said, where we have a real advantage against this team is our special teams are a lot better than their special teams. And he just proved it on that opening kickoff.
He and Corey Ross of the Ravens are the shortest players in the league at 5'6", but the little guy with a big run back. 13 seconds into the game, Nate Kading tacks on the extra point. And the San Diego Chargers, with their season on a fulcrum right now, after that loss to Minnesota last week, John says, reaching back, seeking, a prideful performance tonight. Beautiful beginning for them.
Yeah, he just gets up into the wedge. Darren Sproles does. There's only one tackler there. He doesn't make it, and anytime you can get on the kicker is not going to make it. And it starts right here with the wedge. Watch the blocking of the wedge. They get their guys that make a great hole for Darren Sproles. He runs right through it, and the only guy there is Adam Vinatieri, and he's not going to make that tackle. Look at Vinatieri. I mean, he looked like I would look on that.
Well, last week, San Diego had a 109-yard missed field goal return by Antonio Cromartie, longest play in the history of the league. And as Norv said, John mentioning the fact that Turner felt that was a big advantage for San Diego tonight, and that's an exclamation point right off the bat. 7-0 Chargers, and now Indianapolis will get the ball as Kading will kick off. And Crefonzo Thorpe is back to return the kick. He will be one of the receivers tonight, filling in for the injured Marvin Harrison and also Anthony Gonzalez. And with Clark out, you're going to see Thorpe running back kicks and a lot on offense. Kading, one of the best kickers in the league, sends this one down to the 8-yard line. Thorpe now past the 30, and a good run back for Indy to the 40 and to midfield before he is forced out of bounds. So Thorpe with an answer to Sproles, and Manning will have good field position as we take a look at the Indy offense.
Peyton Manning, Tennessee.
Joseph Adai, Louisiana State.
Reggie Wayne, the U. Aaron Moorhead, Illinois. Brian Fletcher, UCLA.
Ben Utek, Minnesota.
Charlie Johnson, Oklahoma State.
Ryan Lilja, Kansas State.
Jeff Saturday, North Carolina.
Jake Scott, University of Idaho.
Ryan Dean, Northern Illinois.
Those were 11 of the 17 available bodies on offense. Just 6 reserves. They start from the 48. And they'll start with Adai to the right side, and he won't go anywhere. Stop for a loss of 1 behind the line of scrimmage by Jamal Williams, the nose tackle. John mentioning Indianapolis will huddle, and yes, they will. Here they go, and this is something you'll never see, and of course, it's all because of the injuries.
You're right, and you haven't seen that in a long time. In fact, Peyton Manning says we've been going no huddle for 5 years, so probably the last time they had as much huddle as they're going to have tonight was 6 years ago.
Two tight end set. Manning out of the gun. Fletcher and Utek are the tight ends. Adai flanks Manning on second down and 11. To the outside, the catch is made, and into San Diego territory goes Ben Utek. It'll be third down. Here's the Charger defense.
Jacques Césaire, Southern Connecticut State.
Jamal Williams, Oklahoma State.
Igor Olshansky, Oregon.
Sean Phillips, Purdue. Stephen Cooper, Maine.
Sean Merriman, Maryland.
Drayton Florence, Tuskegee.
Eric Weddle, Utah.
Clinton Hart, South Sumter High School.
Marlon McCree, Kentucky.
Antonio Cromartie, Florida State.
Phillips, the outside linebacker on the other side of Merriman, back after missing last week's game. Groin injury. Third down and 2 now.
Eric Weddle is starting in there because the Chargers play nickel, 5 defensive backs.
Manning throws, and that's caught at the 33-yard line, so they convert on their first third down opportunity as Ben Utek makes the catch. So he goes to Utek twice on this first series, first down for the Colts.
You know, one of the big matchups tonight is going to be the left tackle here, Charlie Johnson against Sean Merriman. Here, Charlie Johnson wins that because, you know, the one thing about Peyton Manning, I mean, he's going to get back there and he's going to get rid of the ball. He doesn't get sacked a lot. You know, part of it is protection. The other part of it, he gets rid of the ball so quickly.
So odd to see Indianapolis huddle, isn't it?
You wonder if those linemen even know what that's all about, if they remember to go back there.
Where you stand in the huddle. Manning going deep. You saw the flag come in, intended for Reggie Wayne, covered here by Antonio Cromartie, who gets the start because Quentin Jammer is hurt. Gene Steratore is the referee tonight. The flag is down at the 17-yard line.
Pass interference. Defense, number 31. Automatic first down.
That's what Peyton Manning was talking about last night. That, you know, if we're going to take our shots, it's going to be to Reggie Wayne. We're going to move him around, and now he's just playing out here at his regular position. He's trying to run an out and up on Antonio Cromartie. As he goes out of the out and into the up, Cromartie hits him.
You saw Jammer and Civvies on the sideline. Manning now.
That was a good play in the huddle, and then just on the line of scrimmage. What good does that do?
From the 17-yard line, here's Adai trying to thread his way through the middle and gets bunched up as he reaches the 15-yard line for a gain of 2. It'll be second down and 8. So that Charger defense, which coming into the season, they were one of the better defenses in the league, no question about it. But last year, 528 yards at the Metrodome. And not only did Peterson gain those 296, but 378 rushing yards. Chester Taylor had a pretty good day as well. And Norv Turner this week, obviously, a premium placed on shoring up that run defense.
Yeah, the Colts have 3 receivers stacked outside in a bunch. Chargers are still in their nickel or 5 defensive back defense.
On second down and 8 to the outside. It goes to Brian Fletcher. He and Utek are the 2 tight ends. He's ridden out of bounds by Drayton Florence, and it will be third down and 6 for Indianapolis on the Colts' first drive of the game.
You know, one thing, Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator of the Chargers, can really change his defenses, and I think he can stack more against the run, rush Peyton Manning more aggressively, because you don't have to worry about Dallas Clark, and obviously he wasn't worried about Marvin Harrison coming in anyway. But when those guys are out, then you can stack and just go after the quarterback more than you normally could.
In a light drizzle now on third down and 7, Manning throws, and it is intercepted at the goal line, and this is Cromartie, and Cromartie is going to come out of the end zone. This is the man, of course, who ran a missed field goal back 109 yards. He had designs on doing something like that again here. Sort of ill-advised, though, as you go down and you make the interception in the end zone, and he stayed there.
Someone's going to blame Bill Belichick for that.
Right.
Oh, those Patriots are even in that locker room.
Right. Crisco. LaDainian Tomlinson's first carry of the night is for no gain, maybe even a loss of 1 as they spot the ball on the 5-yard line, making it 2nd and 11. Tony Dungy now in his 6th season as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts to the playoffs in each of the prior 5, and of course the Lombardi Trophy last year.
You can never tell what the score is, can you, by watching Tony Dungy?
Only at the end of the game. Tomlinson brings it back to the 9-yard line. 3rd down upcoming. Here's the Charger starters.
Phillip Rivers, NC State. LaDainian Tomlinson, TCU.
Vincent Jackson, Northern Colorado.
Chris Chambers, Wisconsin Badgers.
Legedy Nene, Boise State. Antonio Gates, Detroit Central High School.
Marcus McNeil, Auburn.
Chris Dillman, Indiana.
Corey Withrow, Washington State.
Mike Goff, Iowa.
Shane Olivier, The Ohio State University.
Gates, the best tight end in football, the leading receiver with 47 catches. The Vikings last week limited him to 1. And 3rd down and 7 to the outside. That pass is errant, intended for Tomlinson. And so San Diego on his first offensive series goes 3 and out. They got the Sproles kickoff return for a touchdown, and they'll punt from deep in their own territory.
You know, talking to LaDainian Tomlinson the other day, he says, you know, we come into this game and we don't have any confidence. You know, I mean, you can't. I mean, you know, what happened to him last week in Minnesota, he said, we have to get off to a good start so we get the confidence within the game. And that's what I was thinking as Darren Sproles was running that kickoff back.
A whistle before the snap. Mike Cyphers is one of the elite kickers in the league. But Gene Steratore blowing the whistle.
False start. Offense, number 31. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. 4th down.
Cyphers is averaging 47 yards a kick, so that'll back him up.
You know, and the Colts and Peyton Manning are going to get the ball back in good shape after that interception. I mean, we saw him looking at the pictures there to see what the defense was, and that was really his fault. I mean, he just threw one in there, and it was a pretty good coverage. He's looking to see how it happened, and going to guarantee that it won't happen again.
Raining a little harder now. It started at about the beginning of the game. It's caught at the 41-yard line, and Kervonzo Thorpe is developed by Kasim Osgood at that point. A good field position. Our thanks to the veterans, to the guys obviously on active duty right now as we come back to San Diego, where there's a tremendous military presence. The Chargers lead 7-0. And Indy with the ball from the 44, Manning over the outside and the way outside, intended for Aaron Moorhead. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
You know, you see Peyton Manning throw that out, and you expect Marvin Harrison to be over there on that right side, and he throws that better than anyone in football throws it, because anytime he sees a single safety, he is going to go to the outside, and he's going to go to that pattern.
This time no huddle, but it's tipped in the air and it's intercepted by Sean Phillips. And Phillips, who, as we said, missed last week's game because of a groin pull, with a tip, a pick, and a run back down to the 32-yard line for San Diego on a pass intended for Brian Fletcher.
Yeah, we talked about Marvin Harrison being on the other side. Here he's going to throw it to Brian Fletcher. He's on the left side of the screen in the slot there. And that's a position that Dallas Parker will be playing. So he tries to throw one to the right where Harrison would be incomplete. And then he throws this. This is just Peyton Manning's fault. I mean, there's something, you know, you expect the guy to be off, and you have to watch that linebacker. And if he gets between you and the slot man, you just have to throw the ball either to someone else or just throw it away.
Manning comes into the game with 4 interceptions in half a season. Tonight he's thrown 2 on his first 6 attempts. Rivers now gives it to LT, and Tomlinson takes the ball to the 26-yard line. Tomlinson last year, a phenomenal season. LaDainian unquestionably the best back in the league, and now, of course, everybody talking about Adrian Peterson, at least until today. And for Tomlinson, it's been an okay year. For anybody else, it would be a real good year, but for LaDainian, the standard is so high when he averages 4.2 yards per carry, you begin to wonder what's wrong.
Right, and he's wondering what's wrong. I mean, the 4-4 start after a year where they were 14-2, I think he's frustrated. The whole team is frustrated.
False start. Offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Right tackle Shane Olivier.
You know, that's not supposed to happen at home. That's supposed to happen on the road to the tackle when he can't hear on third down and all those things. It's not supposed to be something that happens to your right tackle at home on a second down play. Of course, he is blocking against Robert Mathis, isn't he? And that's a big thing. These two Charger tackles have to get these two defensive ends in the Colts.
And over left tackle goes Tomlinson on a 2nd and 9. LaDainian takes it down to the 16-yard line behind Marcus McNeil, who broke in as a rookie last year and did a tremendous job. Second year now out of Auburn. 16-yard gain.
Right, and that's the thing that they do. When you get that end coming up the field, they will give you that inside hole. So they give you a little of that draw hole, and then they pull the right guard, Mike Goff. He comes around. Now someone has to block downfield, and that's Antonio Gates. But those two ends, those two speed rushers on the edge, getting up the field, will give you that weak side draw hole right there.
LT trying to cut in behind Lorenzo Neal, the fullback. Short gain. Let's take a look at the Colt D.
Robert Mathis, Alabama A&M.
Keontae Dawson, Texas Tech.
Ed Johnson, Detroit Crockett Tech.
Dwight Freeney, Syracuse University.
Rocky Boyman, Notre Dame.
Gary Brackett, Rutgers.
Clint Session, Blanchard High School.
Kelvin Hayden, University of Illinois.
Bob Sanders, Iowa.
Antoine Bethea, Howard University.
Barley Jackson, Michigan.
Two rookie defensive tackles, Johnson and Dawson, and a rookie outside linebacker in Clint Session. On 2nd and 10, Rivers running, and then he's just going to throw it away. The secondary does its job, and he was chased by Robert Mathis. It'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Chargers.
You know, and that's one thing that Phillip Rivers can't do is he can't run. And I know Norv Turner, you know, wanted to move the pocket a little, so he's going to have him do this, come on a bootleg. We talk about those speed rushers, and that's Robert Mathis there. You see what they do. They can rush the passer if he's in the pocket. Then if he bootlegs or gets out, that defensive end is faster than the quarterback.
Peyton looked like a guy missing some of his buddies, which he is. 3rd and 10 from the 15-yard line. Rivers to the end zone, into a lot of traffic and incomplete. He's trying to get it to Antonio Gates, and Gates, as you can see, draws a crowd like 3 guys in white shirts.
Right, and you know when they get down there, 3rd down in the red zone, and they're going to go to the end zone, you know who they're going to go to. It's going to be Antonio Gates, and what he's trying to do there, even though he has coverage, he's made up his mind that he's going to throw it to Gates. He's going to just throw him a jump ball. And, you know, Gates can get up there higher than you can get up, and, you know, there was a lot of coverage, as you say, in there, but he still could have caught that ball.
And his hands on it. This will be a 33-yard attempt from Nate Kading. And that kick is good. So they turn Manning's 2nd interception of the night into a Qualcomm Stadium, San Diego. Cloudy, cool night with some light rain. They don't expect much more than this. It has very little effect on the game. To this point, 10-0 is the score. Kading to kick off. Fielded at the 6-yard line by Crefonzo Thorpe. And Thorpe gets taken down at the 15-yard line. Once again, Norv Turner talking about the big special teams advantage. And the Chargers proving it thus far tonight. Brandon Seiler, a rookie out of Florida, makes the tackle. There's a flag down on the play.
During the return, holding number 33 of the return team. The penalty is half the distance to the goal. 1st down, Indianapolis. Timeout.
Melvin Bullock, penalty is on him. And back into up. Manning and company going to work when we come back on the other side of the break. Harrison out. Clark is out, and thus Peyton Manning, the first time in his career, he's thrown 2 interceptions in a first quarter. And that quarter still has 7 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. He starts this drive after the penalty on the run back from the 8-yard line. And quickly to the outside he goes, and that's incomplete, intended for Brian Fletcher. Go back and take a look at Manning's picks here.
Well, here, this first one, he's just going to throw it into Aaron Moorhead here. And you see he's really throwing it into coverage. And there's 4 guys right there, and he throws it into Now, on this one here, Sean Phillips was out as a rush man, and he started rushing. He was between Peyton Manning and the slot that he was trying to throw to.
And a dive gets taken down by Clinton Hart, coming up from his safety spot as he tries to cut back after going over right guard. He is stopped at the 10-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
What the Chargers need to stop any run is that big Jamal Williams, number 76 here. He had both of his knees scoped just a couple of weeks ago. Only missed 1 game and a bye, but and he wasn't right. I watched him on film last week, and he wasn't right. And when he is right, it is very, very difficult to run inside on the Chargers.
So Dallas Clark and street close. They didn't know until today, and there's a flag here for a false start against Indianapolis.
False start. Offense, number 81. Penalty is half the distance to the goal. 3rd down.
Fletcher talking about, well, Fletcher's going to see a lot more action tonight with Clark out. They didn't know Clark suffered a concussion last week, and they didn't know he didn't practice very much this week, but Tony Dungy was hopeful as of last night that he could play today, and the doctors said no.
Yeah, what they do is they give him a CAT scan, all the players, and then they check their baseline. And if after a concussion they get back where they were before the season, if they get on that baseline, that same baseline, then they're okay to play if the doctors okay him and the player says he's okay. Dallas Clark says he wasn't okay, and the doctor said he couldn't play.
Manning almost gets sacked in the end zone on a 3rd and 13, and that pass is incomplete. Igor Olshansky put the pressure on. So Peyton Manning has started the game 3 out of 8 for 21 yards and 2 interceptions.
As Sean Merriman was talking the other day, you see him coming off the slot. He starts outside, doesn't rush outside, comes right up the middle. And he was saying it's not Joseph and I we have to get after. It's Peyton Manning we have to get after. And that's what they do. Remember 2 years ago when they played, they really got after the Colts and they beat them. And they need that same game plan defensively tonight.
Sacked him 4 times in each of the last 2 meetings. This is Sproles around the opening kickoff, back for a touchdown. Fielding the Hunter Smith punt inside the 20, inside the 10. He does it again. Darren Sproles with his 2nd touchdown of the night, a 45-yard return.
Norv Turner was right. And that kind of punt is the kind of punt that is going to be coming back at you. It's a line drive. It didn't stay in the air very long. Sproles just gets up there, makes a couple of moves, bounces to the outside. I don't think until the end there anyone touched him. And he comes up there, picks up a couple blocks, puts those moves. No, not a single Colt touches him. Until right there, and that's too much too late. And Norv Turner said that's where we're better than they are, and that's where we'll beat them. Uh-oh.
And now it is Cyphers who picks it up and then tries to throw it into the end zone, and that's about the only thing that San Diego's done wrong, and there's a flag down on the field.
That Darren Sproles is something, isn't he? We're talking about 5'6", and say, how did he even make it into college? Why didn't someone tell him somewhere along the way, you're too small to play? But I mean, he had to fight that his whole life, and someone in the NFL, 5'6".
An eligible receiver downfield. Both number 57 and number 66 were eligible on the play. However, the result of the try is no good. Timeout.
Sproles out of Kansas State in his 3rd year. So Manning with a big, funny thing, sometimes teams say, hey, San Diego's so potent offensively, we have to keep their offense off the field. Well, the Colts have managed to do that tonight. They've kept the San Diego offense off, not the way they wanted to, but allowing a kickoff return and a punt return for touchdowns.
That does happen when you have a lot of injuries and then backups become starters. It does affect your special team.
One of those guys who's active tonight because of all of the injuries and forced into duty as a receiver, and a return man is out of bounds. Meanwhile, on that conversion for San Diego, the snap looked pretty good. It was just a case of Cyphers dropping it, and they couldn't convert. So it's 16-0 as Manning goes to work now with 5:51 to play in the opening quarter.
And I think he's going to have some patience here, settle this whole thing down. And the way you usually settle things down is with your running game, and that would be get Joseph Adai more involved.
Out of the gun from the 24-yard line. Little floater. Caught out in the flat. And the guy will take the ball up to the 29-yard line. You go back through the Colts over the past few years. Remember, they had Marshall Faulk and then let him go to St. Louis because they drafted Edgerrin James. James played extremely well for a number of years. Let him go. People were worried. Bringing Adai as a rookie. And Adai not only wins a national championship at LSU, but he wins a Super Bowl with Indianapolis. That was a pretty good year for him. Adai stopped at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, I think they looked at that film and they saw what Minnesota did to this San Diego defense, and the San Diego defense tonight is kind of slamming that door, and I think a big part of it is Jamal Williams so far is playing a little more like Jamal Williams plays when he's healthy. Last week he didn't.
They were flat out embarrassed last week.
And they should have been.
3rd and 4. To the outside. That's going to be a first down as it's caught by Fletcher. So Fletcher is able to move the chains up to the 37-yard line. He goes, and for the Colts, that is their 3rd first down of the night.
Yeah, that was that bunch formation we see out here. 3 receivers together, and then you have them come off at the same time. One go short, one go medium, and one go deep. Peyton Manning picked out the short guy, Brian Fletcher.
Fake to Adai, Manning to the outside, and that pass is broken up, intended for Moorhead, whose father Emery used to play in the NFL for Chicago, among other teams. Drayton Florence on the coverage.
And Peyton Manning's telling him to come back. You know, once you get out there and you make the out, then you're going to help your quarterback by working back to your quarterback, working back down the sideline so that he can lead you out and lead you back.
Chargers 7 in the box and 6 right up on the line. And then the pass is caught at the 40-yard line by Brian Fletcher, who gets taken down by Matt Wilhelm. It'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Colts.
You know, it was funny that Peyton Manning came back to Brian Fletcher there on the play before when he went to the out. Brian Fletcher was open right up the seam. So either Peyton saw that and said, I want to go back to him, or I should have thrown it to him on the play before because he would have gotten a big, big play.
And he's completed 6 passes, 3 of them to Fletcher, 2 to Utek, so 5 to tight ends and 1 to Adai. And now over the middle he goes to Fletcher again. And he is up to the 48-yard line as they convert here. 1st and 10 at midfield.
You know, and that was all about pass protection because we knew that the 2 tackles, Charlie Johnson and Ryan Deem here, 71 on the right side, blocking Sean Merriman. If Peyton Manning is going to be able to throw the ball on 3rd down, these 2 tackles have to pass protect on 3rd down, and they've been doing a good job thus far.
Fletcher's caught 4 balls tonight, as many as he caught in the first 8 games of the season. And under pressure, Manning goes down. You had 3 Chargers coming in, and you had Marcus Harris, number 92, who looks like he's trying out for the U.S. gymnastics team. Free agent out of Southern Utah State with the sack.
I tell you, when he can do a flip-flop like that, 2 days ago he was questionable. When we were at practice on Friday, they weren't even sure if Harris could play. Look at him here. Of course, he's unblocked. He comes in, makes a sack, and then does a pretty doggone good celebration.
13-yard sack. Kenton Keith is in the game at running back, and this is Wayne who gets taken down by Eric Weddle, the rookie out of Utah, the versatile Weddle, for whom they traded up in the draft. Makes the tackle, and that'll set up a 3rd and a mile. Eric Weddle with a lot of fans, a lot of family here. Indy goes without a huddle.
And he's playing a lot because he's a nickelback, because he's a good tackler. They can play him on all downs.
Manning going deep, and that is picked off. This is Antonio Cromartie doing it again. His 2nd interception of the night takes it down to the 37-yard line. And for Peyton Manning, playing with, as we said at the top, that short deck has nothing but deuces in it right now. That's 3 interceptions.
Reggie Wayne on this. He didn't look like he thought he was going to get the ball. I mean, he's looking back. That's no way to run a pattern. I mean, you you run something. I mean, your quarterback is expecting you to run a pattern. I mean, you're running in and out, a comeback or whatever. And Reggie Wayne was just running down there like a walk in the park. I mean, he was just running down there looking back like he was a decoy or something. You know, your quarterback needs you tonight.
That deck with deuces, and deuces aren't wild. Manning, 8 out of 15 for 42 yards, 3 picks. Meanwhile, they were looking at Joseph Adai's left arm when he went off the field. The ball is at the 36-yard line as Phillip Rivers takes over. So Rivers has yet to complete a pass in the game, and his team leads by 16. Tomlinson to the 31-yard line.
Well, last week against Minnesota, didn't he go over a period of 11 passes and he didn't complete one?
That's exactly right. A lot of pressure was put on him, something you almost never see. 11 consecutive incomplete passes.
But if he can get the running game going here, and then he can get a little play action pass going, I think that'll help him. I mean, the big thing that he has now is with this lead, he doesn't have to force anything. He doesn't have to play uphill.
Second down and 4. Rivers fires, that's caught. And picking up the first down because he was bumped from behind was Antonio Gates. He was a little shy of getting the first and then got whacked from behind. And that takes him across the yellow line and moves the change at the 26-yard line.
Now that's what everyone does to the Chargers. They say we have to take away the running game, LT, and we have to take away Antonio Gates. And Gates is so good at this. You know, you said, well, what did he do? It's just his body control. You know, just go up, he just runs a little hook, knows where he has to go to get the first down, catches the ball, falls for the first down.
On the 25-yard line to Tomlinson. LaDainian can't go anywhere because it's Gary Brackett, the middle linebacker, coming up to make the tackle before LaDainian can get on track. It's a gain of 2. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Peyton Manning trying to figure out where in the heck are we going to go? What do we do next? And one thing, I think he has to get Joseph Adai involved in the game. And the other thing, I think he better get Reggie Wayne involved in the game.
Manning might have been on the phone saying, Marvin, when are you coming back?
I'll tell you, you know, even watching them on film, this is not the same offense without Marvin Harrison. I mean, and defenses take liberties without Harrison in there.
On 2nd down and 8. Rivers deep over the middle, and it's tipped, and Indy with every chance to intercept it, and it is not, it's incomplete. The whistle has blown. The whistle has blown, so this is all for show. And running.
Not a bad show, Al.
It's a pretty good show. This is Clint's section. He's out of gas, but he takes it to the 7-yard line, but all the officials are back in the end zones. So there were whistles that blew, and we'll go back and take a look at it again.
Right, and there's officials all over the field, players all over the field. The ball never hit the ground.
Right, and he never gets, and it's Brackett who tipped it. But the whistle had sounded to end the play.
Didn't you have one like that in a Green Bay game?
Absolutely. Well, you had a situation where if it goes off the player, it's not the same thing as the ground, even though the player is on the ground. And the officials will now huddle at midfield. But the key is here, with the whistles blowing, it means that the other team is going to stop. You hear the whistles blowing, you stop. So Gene Steratore, with a lot of things to go over right now, but to me, what would happen here if the whistle blows, it ends the play.
But there are officials spotting the ball down at the 6-yard line too.
The ruling on the field is an interception. However, there's been an inadvertent whistle that had taken place while the football was in the end zone. The ruling now will be that it is an interception, the ball declared dead in the end zone. First down, Indianapolis on the 20-yard line.
Oh, the old inadvertent whistle.
The and this is not reviewable. This is not, when the whistle blows, that's it. You can look at video. You can't go to audio, but we can listen to the audio right here. So the minute the whistle blows, this is the end of the play, even though the result of the play will count. There was the whistle as Sessions starts to go out of the end zone. So a big break for the San Diego Chargers. Instead of a 1st and goal for Indianapolis, a touchback, and they'll have it at the 20-yard line. And the crowd is looking at the replay. Even though now, it's interesting, Dungy can't challenge this, but Turner can. Because Dungy, you can't challenge the whistle blowing. So the odd thing here is that Turner can challenge this, which I think he would lose because the ball never hit the ground. And so he goes over to Steratore.
San Diego is challenging the ruling on the field of an interception.
So this,
after review, the ruling on the field stands. It was an interception. The inadvertent whistle will put the ball at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10 Indianapolis. San Diego will be charged with his first timeout.
Now it's possible that, Norv or somebody responded to the crowd, because when the crowd saw this on replay, they all said, oh no, that's, it's an incomplete pass, but it's not. As long as it doesn't hit the ground, the player can be on the ground. If it goes off the player's body, the rule is, and there is Session coming up with it, it is an interception.
Right, and the crowd just saw it replayed again and just had the same reaction, and luckily Norv didn't have the same reaction.
Well, the crowd didn't know the people who were saying it's an incomplete pass don't know what the rules are. But in the meantime, it cost San Diego a timeout, which is no big deal, but it does cost them a challenge.
They don't know that a Colt's body is not the ground.
Right. Up to the 22-yard line is Joseph Adai, and that's the end of the first quarter. Pretty stunning. Start the second quarter. You've got Charlie Johnson, the left tackle, taking the spot of Tony Hugo, who's hurt and inactive, being replaced by Michael Taduz, who is just activated, and he's making his NFL debut right here. So among other things, with Harrison gone and also Dallas Clark gone, and all of their other problems, you go down to a guy with limited experience, 5th-round draft choice last year to TCU, who is protecting Manning's blind side. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer, San Diego as we start the second quarter. 2 returns for touchdowns by Darren Sproles. The big plays in the game, 16-0 Chargers, and a flag.
I think that's against Ryan Dean, the right tackle.
Number 71, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
By position tonight, the Colts, I can't think of a game where a team comes into the game with 17 players that are active on one side of the ball. That means you've got 11 guys on the field. You only have 6 subs. Now you've got Johnson sitting on the bench.
So you take one off of that 7 offensive linemen. If Charlie Johnson is out, they just have 6 offensive linemen.
From the 17-yard line. Manning under pressure as he throws it, gets it away, and Wayne makes the catch and breaks out of a Weddle tackle for the moment and gets the ball up to the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
And that's what they're doing with Reggie Wayne now. When Marvin Harrison was out there, Reggie Wayne would just play out in the left. Now they have him playing in the slot. And you see it, he's running those patterns that the slot receiver would run, or they're probably Dallas Clark's plays, but Peyton Manning has to move him around because he has to be his go-to guy tonight.
3rd down and 3. Manning goes down as he gets it away, and that is a phenomenal one-handed interception by Cromartie. You're always hearing about a guy who's a great athlete. Well, I tell you what, when you watch that run back last week, when you watch what he does tonight, when you watch that pick, that is a great athlete.
Right, and they have to go to Reggie Wayne. They don't have a lot left. They're going to see Sean Merriman there, get the big pass rush. Once they bring in a new tackle, a fresh guy, you want to get your best pass rusher on him. He's going to go after Peyton Manning. And then on the other end of this, you get just a great reception, a great interception. Look at that.
Wow.
That guy's having a pretty good run, that Cromartie, isn't he?
Phenomenal over the last 3 games. From the 45-yard line. There's Tomlinson. Manning said last night, he said, I'll tell you what, I won't miss Quentin Jammer. But there's the guy taking Jammer's place.
No, he was thinking, okay, I don't have Marvin Harrison, but they don't have Quentin Jammer. Now we're even.
Right.
But they have Cromartie, and you're not even.
4 picks, first time in his career in the first half.
And he's just getting frustrated. I mean, that was a great play by Cromartie. Cromartie, but someone has to win some battles for Peyton Manning to make the throw for him, and the pass protection has to hold up better.
2nd and 11. Here's Tomlinson. The irony is tonight, here's San Diego obviously dominating the game because of what they're doing defensively and what they're doing on special teams. Rivers is 1 out of 5 for 5 yards. Tomlinson 9 carries for 34 yards. So those numbers are next to nothing. But here they are up 16-0.
Right, because they're getting the turnovers, they're winning that battle, they're winning the special teams battle, and and the fans are booing that 2nd down run, and for none yards. But they have the lead. I mean, they're ahead 16-0, and they don't want to do anything stupid. I mean, they have the Colts down. They don't want to give them any life now.
And not let them back in the game. It's a low snap. Rivers throws to the outside. That's caught by Tomlinson, but Tomlinson can't get the first down. Bob Sanders stops him a couple of yards shy with help from Marlon Jackson. And the crowd, they're thrilled, of course, with the special teams, thrilled with the defense, but unhappy with the offense at the moment. And Norv Turner, who's the guy in the glare right now, having taken over for the fired Marty Schottenheimer, has really been taking a good part, in good measure, a lot of that heat.
Right, and Norv probably has a play. I think if you're going to do this, it's a long field goal or a short punt, and it's not a bad time to go for it on 4th down. But in your pocket, you have to have a play that you feel strongly about, that you feel that you can pick up 3 yards on. Let's see what it is.
It comes out of the shotgun. It goes to the outside, and they are able to convert as they go to Legadou Nane, a rookie out of Boise State. Drafted in the 5th round, very versatile player at Boise State, and he's able to convert.
And as you say, Al, he's a very versatile guy. He's a wide receiver, he's an H-back, he's a tight end. You see him, he started on the left side, comes across in motion, just sets, and that was a 3-yard play he needed. You just run a 3-yard out, and he gets the ball out there to him quickly.
Now Lorenzo Neal, of all things, the fullback, is split wide to the left. Neal goes in motion. Lorenzo in his 15th season. And then Rivers juggles the snap. He's got a new center, Corey Withrow. They had problems last week because Nick Hardwick, their Pro Bowl center, is hurt and out for at least another couple of weeks.
Al, that's unbelievable to me. I don't think you accept that. I mean, there's Nick Hardwick there. You don't fumble a snap. I mean, I went to a freshman high school game Thursday night. They didn't fumble a snap. This is the most automatic thing that there is in football. They had 2 of them last week and another one here today. There is no excuse for it. I mean, you don't have to look and say, did the center get it up? Did the quarterback pull out? There's no excuse for not getting the snap. I was telling someone, that's like brushing your teeth. It's just automatic. I mean, you stick the toothbrush in your mouth, you snap the ball to the quarterback. You stick the toothbrush in your eye.
Some guys don't brush their teeth. That's the problem. To the outside goes Tomlinson as he takes the pass. And he's out of bounds at the 34-yard line. And it'll be 3rd down and long.
Sometimes you can say, well, he didn't see, you didn't read the coverage. You thought it was cover 2, it was cover 4, and all those things, all that football lingo. When you get to the quarterback exchange, there is absolutely no excuse for it. So anyway, I had to invent on that.
It's a football equivalent.
It's driving me nuts. No, I mean, it doesn't happen in high school football. It doesn't happen in Pop Warner football. It should never happen here. Now I'm done.
Football equivalent of halitosis. 3rd down and 10 at the 34-yard line. Rivers steps up, guns it over the middle. Open is Vincent Jackson, makes the catch to the 15-yard line. Goes the 6'5", 240-pound third-year man out of northern Colorado.
Yeah, we talk about the matchups and watch McNeil here on Freeney. He does a good job. And Freeney is a speed pass rusher. And when those guys get down low, you just want to push them into the ground. And that's exactly what Marcus McNeil did. And he's going to have a big job tonight because, he has Dwight Freeney over there. And Dwight Freeney now has to play a little more under control because he's down 16-0.
Neal can't handle it. Lorenzo Neal has played with a lot of different teams and has blocked for a lot of backs who've had terrific seasons, and that's one of the reasons Lorenzo has been able to last 15 years.
Yeah, and look at that, everything that he has up there on that neck. That's from all those lead blocks, and you don't get a lot of fullback in the flat. When you're a a fullback in a two-back offense, the thing you have to do is be able to block, and that's usually lead blocking on a linebacker from this position right here.
He plays for Tony Dungy in Tampa. 2nd and 10. Tomlinson takes it to close to the 11-yard line, and again a 3rd down upcoming for San Diego. It'll be 3rd down and 6 with 10.5 to play in the half.
You know, I don't think they'll do it now on 3rd down, but one of the things when you're playing the Chargers in this area that you always have to be worried about is Tomlinson throwing the run pass. I mean, I think he's thrown 7 of them for 7 touchdowns, and it's usually in this area. Again, maybe not a 3rd down play, but if it's not Tomlinson throwing a run pass, then it's Antonio Gates.
On 3rd and 7 from the gun. Rivers over the middle. That's caught. Trying to get the 1st down. It's going to be very close with forward progress as Antonio Gates, and it looks like they're going to spot it. Well, as one official comes in from the side, very close to a 1st down. He puts it across the yellow line, so that, of course, is unofficial, but it should be a 1st down as Gates makes the catch.
You see Gates right here as a tight end, and again, he knows where he has to go to 1st down. He just goes up there, turns around, looks so simple, and then Phillip Rivers just throws it and puts it on him right there. You know, you would think that, you know, they're going to go to Antonio Gates when they get down there. You'd think you'd put someone on him and hit him on the line of scrimmage and just ride him rather than sitting back there and waiting for him to do this to you.
By that much, a 1st and goal. You could win a bet, guessing since 2003, who would lead the NFL in red zone touchdowns. It is Gates with 30.
You know, and you know it. I mean, it's something that, okay, that's the thing that they're going to do, and I would think I would just, especially when he lines up tight in there, you know, I would just pin him in there and not let him off the line of scrimmage.
Tomlinson. And LaDainian just can't find any room, and that has been the case in a number of games this season. He's really yet to have, you know, a typical LT game. I say typical, you know, compared to the last 2 seasons. Tonight, 11 carries for a pedestrian 38 yards.
You know, one thing I've watched a lot of film on the San Diego Chargers, and, you know, part of it's LaDainian Tomlinson a little, you know, really hasn't uncorked it yet, but another part of it is their offensive line. They're not as physical as they were a year ago.
And 2nd down and goal. LT again. And this time LT for a TD. He got in behind Shane Olivier.
Yep, he just hadn't been LT, but he's LT on this play. Watch him, he gets the ball deep there, starts inside, gets a good block, as you say, Al, from Sean Olivier, and just breaks off it. Right there, there's a good block right there. Good block by McNeil, and he just follows him into the end zone.
Olivier took Mathis out of the play, Kading for the point after now. Cyphers this time is able to get it down, and Kading bangs it through. And with 8:47 to go in the opening half. Condition, despite a sprinkler head breaking, they had to re-side the middle of the field this week. So no footing problems tonight. Ball fielded at the 12-yard line by Alfonso Thorpe. And he gets banged out of bounds into the Indianapolis bench. Up at about from the 33-yard line, 1st down. To the outside. A dive to the 36-yard line, picks up 3. Peyton Manning with 4 interceptions tonight, tying a career high. Take a look at this. He's closing in on Johnny Unitas with career touchdown passes. One more and he ties Johnny U. Johnny U ranking on top in passing yards for the franchise. Peyton's going to catch him, but if he does it tonight, it might be a very Pyrrhic record-setting night for him, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Alfonso Thorpe out of Florida State. 3rd down and 7.
and that's what the Colts have to do now. You can't think, we're down by 23. We have to, get 24 points real quick. We have to get the first touchdown. We have to get that first score. And I think you can be patient. I think you can work your way down the field. You can do those kinds of things, but you can't continue to press. You can't continue to force things, and you can't continue to give them turnovers.
3rd down and 7. The ball is at the 36-yard line. Manning going deep, and that is incomplete, intended for Thorpe, and that's Cromartie going with him step for step. And there's a flag down at the San Diego 45-yard line. Initial call is it's going to be against San Diego, and so Indy will have a first down.
In the pocket. Illegal contact. Defense. Number 32. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
We'll leave him at 31, Cromartie.
I think maybe they call that in the middle of the field.
Could be Weddle. It is Weddle, yeah.
Right.
He did mean Weddle. Right.
They call it in the middle of the field. Weddle is in there because they're in nickel or 5 defensive backs, and you see the flag go there. It wasn't out there, and Cromartie was in the middle of the field.
Right. Underneath, Weddle with illegal contact while Manning was in the pocket. Under 8 minutes to go in the half. Now the ball is at the 41-yard line, first down. Manning throws, that's caught. Fletcher, first down. John, the last time and the only time Manning's thrown 4 interceptions in a game would have been in 2001 against the 49ers, and we all remember that game for one reason. That's the game when, after the game, Jim Morris said, "Playoffs?
Was that the
playoffs?" That was the game. Cromartie. Well, he's been just phenomenal over the last 3 games. Adai. And Adai to the 44.
I think Adai tonight is kind of getting paid off for what Adrian Peterson did to him last week. They knew that, we talked about, the pride. This is a good defense, and someplace you have to go after them, and I think they were going to go after Peyton Manning, but on the way they've been very, very tough against Joseph Adai in the running game of the Colts also.
Adai has 7 carries for 13 yards, not even averaging 2 yards per tote. Manning throws, and that's caught coming across the field is Crofonzo Thorpe. We've been talking about Cromartie. He's had a tremendous night. Last week, records are made to be broken. Not this one. This can only be tied. Longest play in the history of the league. Talked about his great athleticism. How many guys can do what he did? Stay not only inbounds, make the catch over his shoulder, and then go 109 yards. You can't go any farther for an NFL record. Longest play in the history of the league.
It will always be there, won't it?
At least he'll be tied for it unless they adopt the Canadian rules. And that's a first down to the 36-yard line, and you extend the field.
The thing about Cromartie on that play that I thought was great was a catch. A lot of it, it's 109. He brought it all the way back. The return and all that, but catching the ball at that point with his hands the way he did, I thought was a great play in itself.
He was their #1 pick out of Florida State last season.
He can run.
Oof. Ball to the 36-yard line. You wonder if they can work him into the offense from time to time. Manning, pump fakes, under pressure, gets sacked at the 40-yard line. That's Carlos Polk. He plays a backup spot to Sean Merriman at one of the outside backer spots, who gets the sack.
See, he had to hold that a little longer than he wanted to. He's trying to get the ball out there to Moorhead, but you see he had double coverage. That's what Peyton sees there. So he's looking at Moorhead. He pumps there, and then when he brings the ball back, there's Carlos Polk right on him.
2nd down and 14.
He wasn't going to throw it into double coverage, so he had to hold it a little longer than he wanted to.
And that is caught on the outside by Thorpe. It's bounced out of bounds a couple yards shy of the first down by Antonio Cromartie. 3rd down and 4 now for Indianapolis.
And this is a big down here for the Colts. I think that, like I said, methodically go down the field. The toughest score to get is always that first one. toughest points are always those first points. So go and get those and then work from there.
Bunch to the right here, 3 receivers. To Manning's right, out of the shotgun he comes. Kenton Keith is in the backfield with him. Manning throws, that's caught, and that's going to be a first down as he finds number 81, Brian Fletcher. Fletcher playing tonight a lot because of the injury to Dallas Clark. If you just tuned in, Clark gone, Harrison gone for a 4th game, and thus Fletcher has caught 6 passes tonight for 38 yards. There's Dallas Clark.
You know, you'll do that a lot. You know, it's an old basketball thing where you overload a side. You have the bunch over there, then you get the defense to come over to that side, and then you go boom back to the other side or in the middle. Get them to overreact to your overload.
Keith is the running back here again. Bunch to the left this time. Same formation, but going the other way. And Manning does the same thing as he goes to Fletcher. So Fletcher, who has caught 4 passes all season coming into the game, now makes his 7th grab of the night and is averaging 7 yards per reception.
Yeah, like you said, Al, that's the same thing. They put the bunch over there in the left, and then that does something to the defense. That brings the defense over here, and then they come over to the backside. They bring the backside guy on a cross towards the bunch and hit him in the middle.
From the 12 now. They hand the ball off to Kenton Keith. He's the backup to a die. Keith's first-year player, but he did play in the CFL with the Saskatchewan Roughriders for 4 years. And a die now comes back in on 2nd down and 7.
You know, you're talking about Brian Fletcher catching so many passes, and I was talking to Peyton on the field before the game, and he said that Dallas Clark was a big part of their game plan. They just found out he wasn't going to play, and said we were going to do a lot of things with him, and Brian Fletcher is taking those things.
2nd and 6 over the middle, caught by Wayne, touchdown Colts.
That's what the Colts needed to get back in this game. Just a methodical drive, just like they did. That was perfect. We talked about Reggie Wayne and how they're going to move him around, and here he is. You'll see him. He's the slot guy. Normally he's out in the left, but Peyton has to have a veteran guy that he can find, count on, and go to.
And he's been counting on and going to Wayne. Of course, he has Harrison on the other side as well, but not tonight, doing that for years. Reggie Wayne, their first-round pick back in 2001 out of Miami. The extra point here by Vinatieri is good. And so with 2:42 left in the half, Colts having a good time with the Charger fans tonight. At least the Chargers are having a good time, up by 16 points. Now you've got Darren Sproles, who's already run 2 kicks back for touchdowns tonight. 1 kickoff, 1 punt, and a flag comes in at the end of the play as he brings it back to the 35-yard line.
During the return, holding number 51 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down San Diego.
Tim Dobbins. Line first down for the San Diego Chargers. Rivers, fake toss. Then he throws it out to Gates. And Gates up to the 34-yard line. Gates a tight end in name only as they move him around a lot as they did there.
You know, he's so good at just getting open. I mean, you know that once he gets open, he's going to catch a ball and he can run it. And having been a basketball player, do all those basketball things. But if I were the Colt defense, I would just jam him and ride him, and even if I had to take a penalty once in a while for holding.
From the 34-yard line, he gets the snap off before the 2-minute warning. And into the outside, and there is nobody even close. Major miscommunication, and lucky he threw that away. Away. 1:56 remaining, and
the Chargers have to get a first down here on this series because they don't want Peyton Manning to get the ball again this half.
They could say that this is. They're thinking about calling this grounding. Yes, they are.
Offense. 10-yard penalty. Loss of down. Second down.
Well, as we say, he was in the pocket and there was nobody within 15 yards of it.
Yeah, again, if he stays in the pocket, if he gets outside the tackles, you can throw the ball away. He's just trying to throw the ball away, and there's no receiver out there.
That was weird, though, because, I mean, he wasn't under pressure, and he looked at Jackson as if Jackson had run the wrong route. In any event, it's going to cost him a penalty in the 2nd and 20. 2-minute warning at 1:56.
This is very sad. Dick was a good friend of mine. I coached the Raiders when he coached the 49ers, and I hired him later. And he worked with me with the Raiders, and had as much respect for Dick Nolan as you can have for a man.
Now Tomlinson taking it up to the 26-yard line. He's tackled there by Ed Johnson, and Indianapolis will take its first timeout. Right.
Now the Colts have 2 timeouts left. I mean, the Colts are going to use.
Right. It depends on this play. Where you Chargers have a 3rd and 18, so the Colts, after that 2nd down play, took a timeout. They have 2 remaining. For what it's worth, San Diego also has 2, but right now San Diego is thinking about, if they can, converting on a 3rd down and long to avoid having Indy take another defensive timeout. Rivers flushed out. Tomlinson on the screen, and Ladanian with some good yardage, but he is stopped well short of the 1st down by Bethea. Tomlinson gets up and starts jawing with 4 or 5 Colts, and timeout is taken by Indianapolis. So they take their 2nd. Here in the first half, Sproles got things started. 89-yard opening kickoff return for a touchdown. And then it was Sproles again with a 45-yard return of a line drive kick by Hunter Smith. Manning has thrown 4 interceptions tonight, tying a career high. He's missing a lot of parts. Cromartie with another tremendous and spectacular play. And that's where we stand right now. It's a fascinating, it's a very interesting game. Somebody would look at the numbers and say, what? What's going on here?
Well, you know, it was like we talked early in the game where North Turner said, you know, it's not just offense and defense. He said, you know, I think we can beat him in special teams, and so far he has. And then I think that the Colts went through, you know, a little, you know, problem where they were pressing and, you know, getting down, and maybe there is a hangover from last week against the Patriots because, you know, they haven't settled down until their last drive.
Thorpe to run back the kick off the foot of Cyphers. Comes all the way across the field and then runs out of room and goes out of bounds at about the 14-yard line. So he runs about 50 yards, but almost all of them laterally with a minute and a half to go. And Manning will now come out with 90 seconds and 1 timeout to at least try to get them into field goal range.
And you know that there's no one better in this situation than Peyton Manning. Now, you know, having said that, I know you can say, but yeah, he doesn't have his guys, but, you know, he knows how to do this. And this offense is set up to do this. Well, they normally don't huddle up like that to do it, but, you know, quicken the pace, no huddle, use signals, find the open guy, all those things they do very, very well.
Chargers 5 up on the line. They rush 4. Manning is under pressure, and Manning will just throw it at the feet of a die for a short completion. Clock keeps running. Merriman makes the tackle. Manning under pressure that time. Loss of 1.
Now they have a tackle out there, Michael Taduz, that they just activated, the left tackle. And on that last drive when the Colts scored, he played pretty well. He's doing okay over there.
Manning deep over the middle. He finds the open man, and that's Wayne, who gets into the seam and takes it all the way to the 50-yard line, where he's tackled by Florence, and leave it to Reggie Wayne to find the open spot in the middle of that Chargers secondary. And now a timeout is taken by Indianapolis after a 39-yard gain. It's their final timeout.
Well, that's the one go-to guy that he has now, so he's moving him around. Reggie Wayne is usually just on the left side. Tonight he's playing in the slot. And the Colts think that that's a position that they can take advantage of. They just run him right down the seam, and Peyton Manning gives him a perfect throw. But this is a big part of their offense tonight, is moving Reggie Wayne around and making him the go-to guy and put him in position where he can be the go-to guy.
4 catches for 55 yards. That one 39, by far the longest reception of the night, longest play of the night for the Indianapolis Colts. So 57 ticks, no timeouts from the 48. Manning buys time, throws, that's caught, 31-yard line, and again it's Reggie Wayne, gets tackled there by Clinton Hart.
You know, you talk about there's an injured Colt down there in the 45-yard line.
Ryan Dean, the starting right tackle.
You know, they don't have any tackles left. They only have one offensive lineman left. That's Dylan Gandy.
Well, they're going to be out of bodies in a second here. Tony Hugo's hurt, the starter. Johnson got hurt. Now Dean is hurt. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, we're more talking about the offensive line injuries. Charlie Johnson, now the Colts are telling us nothing about his status officially, but he went into the locker room. He had hurt his left foot. He came back out. It was heavily taped. He went up against one of their other linemen to try to test it and push off of it, but at this point, he is still on the sidelines just waiting to see what happens.
Usually when an offensive lineman is wearing a baseball cap, he's not going to be playing. There's Ryan Dean there. Seeing pretty good pass protection. Oh, that's tough. I mean, you're blocking your guys, blocking Sean Phillips, and he just gets rolled up from behind. Oh boy, that is tough. Sean Merriman comes and gets him right from behind.
So Dean gets up, so at least it looks like he has a chance to get back into the game on a night when, as we said at the beginning, 17 offensive players for the Indianapolis Colts. Gandy, John talked about Gandy, he's been a center and a guard. There he is.
I think what they'll probably do is it's Dylan Gandy, not Dylan, but they'll play him at guard and move a guard to tackle.
From the 31-yard line. 4-man rush. That line does a nice job, and then Manning has to throw it away, intended for Thorpe. You've got Jake Scott, who's a guard playing right tackle, so you've got guys all over the place here. Second down and 10. Colts, no timeouts. Dean on the sideline. 4-man line and a 4-man rush. And Manning has time and goes deep, and that is incomplete. Double coverage that time on Grafonzo Thorpe, and that'll make it third down and 10. So right now, he's in a position, is Manning, where you're looking, if you don't gain a yard on this play, at about a 49 or 50-yard field goal attempt.
Grafonzo Thorpe is the outside receiver, and that's one of the Colts' favorite problems, favorite patterns where they have the inside guy want a short route and then the outside guy come in on a post.
Third down and 10. Manning has to think about the first down or working outside. He's not going to have time if it's fourth down. He throws underneath. It's caught by Wayne, and he's tackled at the 22-yard line. And now without a timeout, they've got to run the fire drill here to get the field goal unit in. And this is like a Jason Elam moment. Vinatieri will try to get one off from 42 yards. Clock down to 4, 3, 2, 1. They get it off. High snap. Smith gets it down, but the kick is no good, off to the left. So Vinatieri misses at the end of the first half. Would have been a 13-point game at least for Tony Dungy. When everything went wrong in the first half, it's a two-possession game. 16 points. 23-7. Toyota halftime show coming up next. And now the second act, the second half. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer in San Diego. It was 23-0. Now 23-7. And with San Diego scoring 23 and New England 14 at the end of the game last week, the Colts had given up 37 unanswered points, something that hadn't happened since going all the way back to 1991. But they got a touchdown toward the end of the half, and they're going to get the ball here as Thorpe will run the kickback.
You just feel towards the end of the half that the Colts finally got this figured out, got their offense figured out, and the Chargers defense figured out.
Do they have enough parts? Thorpe to run it back. And Carlos Polk who comes in and plants him at the 32. We go to Andrea.
Well, Tony Dungy, very stoic at halftime. He said we have to start playing smart, fundamental football. He said maybe we're using injuries as an excuse. At halftime, he told them we have to start playing Colts football. I said, what is that? He said, cover kicks, get in coverage, and execute our offense. Left tackle Charlie Johnson is out. Ryan Deem, the guard, they're going to tape him up and try to send him back in. As for North Turner, he said, hey, it's still Peyton Manning out there.
So now they're down to 16 on offense. Gandy will start at right guard, and that is Wayne, who gets banged so hard that he can't even hold on to the ball by Drayton Florence.
Yeah, they put Gandy at right guard, and the way they ended the half, and they put Jake Scott out at right tackle.
First half numbers, and what the numbers will not tell you, of course, is when you look at them, that the San Diego Chargers picked up 13 points on 2 returns of kicks, one a kickoff, one a punt. I say 13 because they missed a conversion because of a botched hold. But 2 touchdowns by Sproles. That's the big difference. Second and 10. Manning throwing, and that's caught at the 37-yard line by Thorpe, who's covered there by Clinton Hart. Short of a first.
Again, they had to slot out there to the right, and they have Thorpe back here on the weak side. Decided, wait, he's the guy that gets man-to-man coverage, so that's where Peyton Manning's read takes him. Looked out there at the right, and again he had Reggie Wayne in the slot, and that's where he was looking to go. Had coverage over there, so he came back to Thorpe.
There was Tony talking to his defensive coordinator, Ron Meeks. As you can see, they're going to be a little bit short. It'll be 3rd down and inches from the 37-yard line. The 2 linebackers, and of course they have field days against good offensive lines. Now what are they going to do against a banged up offensive line?
Well, they put in Michael Teduzzi at the left tackle, number 75, and on that drive towards the end of the half, he blocked very well. I think he's doing a good job over there on the left side. And again, Jake Scott moving from guard to tackle, he'll do okay at the right tackle. I think their protection is going to be okay.
3rd down and 1 with a dive behind Manning. And a dive will break past the line of scrimmage and then turn it not only to a first down, but a nice gain out to the 46-yard line. It will be 1st down and 10. Joseph Adai now with his 10th carry of the night.
Yeah, and he just goes right up the middle and gets right in behind Jeff Saturday. You see that they get a little zone blocking there. Saturday and Ryan Lilja, and they get a double and a push, and that's where Adai was able to go.
10-yard gain for him. 1st and 10. The ball is at the 46-yard line. Adai for a couple to the 49-yard line. Colts huddled from point to point during the first half.
Yeah, you think of the 5 years where they'd always be talking on the line of scrimmage, and then because of all the injuries and because of having to move guys around, and especially Reggie Wayne, moving him from outside to slot to right to left, they had to huddle up so that Peyton Manning could get all the guys lined up properly.
2nd down and 7 from the 49-yard line. 4-man rush, caught underneath. This is Aaron Moorhead making the catch. He is stopped at the San Diego 46-yard line, and we're going to have a 3rd down and 2. Stephen Cooper, the inside linebacker, in on the stop.
You think of Peyton Manning, and he doesn't get sacked a lot, and you know that he can't run, but he gets back and gets rid of the ball so quickly, you're not going to get there very often. You better get a free rusher right up the middle if you're going to get to Peyton Manning.
Manning gesturing, as he so often does, and sets up in the shotgun on a 3rd down and 2. Steps away from the pressure and then throws that one in a position where Reggie Wayne has no chance. It's out of bounds, and it will be 4th down. So they come up, and you can tell that the Colts are trying to pick up the pace a little bit. First drive of the half starts out okay, but then it bogs down in midfield. And the Colts look like, at least for the moment, they're going to line up to go for it.
He's calling the play right now. You see how Joseph Adai, the running back, has to come up to the line of scrimmage to get the play. Look at the Chargers are really packing the line of scrimmage, but Peyton Manning has to get out of that one.
And they do go for it on 4th and 2, and it is caught by Aaron Moorhead, who got one-on-one coverage with Drayton Florence, and a big 1st down. Otherwise, they would have handed the ball back to San Diego at midfield.
Right, and that was the thing that Manning had to do. He had to get the ball out there to Moorhead, because look at the defense. They're all packed in there, so he knows that he has single coverage up there, and if Moorhead can just get one step to get to the inside, he's going to get him the ball for a 1st down.
12 yards on a 4th and 2. If they somehow come from behind and win this game, you will look back to that play. That was a gamble, and a big one. Otherwise, you give San Diego a 50-yard field.
But if you're going to gamble, number 18 is not a bad guy to gamble with.
Yep. Handoff nets nothing. Adai tackled by Williams. Remember, Harrison is gone. Clark not playing tonight because of a concussion. So Manning just trying to make do with a potpourri, but he still has Reggie Wayne.
Right, and the one that really hurt him, I think, tonight was Dallas Clark, because he expected or thought that Clark would probably be playing. He knew that Marvin Harrison wasn't going to be playing, so he's prepared to play without him. But talking to him before the game on the field, he really wasn't prepared to play without Dallas Clark.
2nd and 10. Pressure on Manning, and it's juggled and intercepted by Matt Wilhelm. And for the first time in his career, Peyton Manning has thrown 5 interceptions in a game.
And that was on him. He wasn't rushed at all. You know, you talk about pass protection. He had perfect pass protection.
Just when it was starting to get a little nervous, for tortillas from scratch each day.
Right, we just saw him making the corn tortillas there. You know what that dish was they made?
No.
Fajitas. They have beef and shrimp fajitas.
Post-game meal to the 32-yard line. The pass is caught by Chris Chambers, who came over about a month ago from Miami for a 2nd-round draft choice in a trade. Had played for the Dolphins when Norv Turner was the offensive coordinator there, and he's been a silent partner tonight as he finally gets into the action, catches his first pass of the game.
Right, and the Chargers need someone out there, you know, as a wide receiver to win some battles, whether it's Chris Chambers or Buster Davis when he's healthy, or Vincent Jackson, because you can gang up on Antonio Gates and LaDainian Tomlinson.
Here's LT. 34, sets up 3rd and 3. Andrea.
While you're talking about Chris Chambers, he has dealt with change his entire career. He's on his 5th head coach, 7th offensive coordinator, and 11th different quarterback. But he says this time it's easier because he was with Norv Turner for 2 seasons in Miami, and the offense is pretty much the same. So his key to transition, Chambers says it's all about communication. When the team was forced to locate to Arizona because of the fires, Chambers got to know and bond with his new teammates, Al.
He could be so valuable to this team down the stretch. They really need somebody to do something on the outside.
Right, and I think a lot of it has to do with he and Phillip Rivers more than he and the system.
And 3rd and 2, that's caught by the rookie Nene, and the Boise State first-year player up to the 44-yard line for a 1st down.
Nene is an interesting guy. You know, as I said earlier, when they first brought him in, they thought he would be like Antonio Gates, and he would back him up and be a tight end. Then they, liked him in the slot, and then they put him outside, and they like him as a wide receiver. And I think right now, if you say what position does Nene play, I think he's a wide receiver. And he's a big-bodied wide receiver.
His 2nd catch of the night. The ball is at the 44. Tomlinson to the outside he goes. And LaDainian over the 50-yard line and picks up 9. He's finally tackled by Antoine Bethea, setting up a 2nd and 1.
He really used his pulling guard. Mike Goff pulls out there. and the defender goes inside of Goff. Watch Goff right here. He goes out there, and the defender commits, goes to the inside. LaDainian Tomlinson sees that and bounces to the outside. It wasn't a good block. It wasn't any kind of block at all. But the angle that the defender took, LaDainian Tomlinson didn't need that block.
2nd and 1, light lane. What do you call spritzing in San Diego? Michael Turner is in the game at running back. The backup to Tomlinson. You saw the flag come in.
That's in the area of offensive hold, too, isn't it?
And the umpire throwing the flag 99.461% of the time. It's an offensive hold. I'll tell you what, Gene Steratore, our referee, as he makes the call here.
Holding, offense, number 65, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
I think he went to the Ed Hockley school of bicep buildup. I mean, I'd rank him second to Hockley, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he doesn't have guns like Hockley, though. I mean, he's proud of what he has, and in all due respect, he doesn't have as much as Hockley, but he was out in the parking lot. This is a true story tonight. I'm walking in with him, and a bus is starting to back up, and the guy's turning, and he waves the guy off, and he said, stop. And he said that's the first call he had. Now, you talk about bicep.
Yeah, and that's a whole other thing.
The Hulkster's in the house.
He makes Hockley look like a bum. And that pass is caught at midfield by Chris Chambers, and that'll be a 1st down. So after the penalty backs him up, Chambers gets free over the middle, and the ball is in Indianapolis territory.
Again, we talked about the battles outside here. The tackles, McNeil blocking against Freeney. You have to grab or get whatever you can. I mean, you're not going to get the perfect pass protection. You get your hands up there. That time, Marcus McNeil had his arm around the throat of Dwight Freeney. And then you're fighting for your life out there. It's tough.
At the 45-yard line. The fake to Tomlinson. And then Rivers under pressure, and he's going to get sacked. That's Robert Mathis coming around a block and then chasing him down. He got by Olivier, chased him down for the sack, and there's a flag down.
Yeah, and they had Mathis coming from one side on a speed rush and Freeney coming from the other side on a spin.
Holding, offense, number 73. Penalty is declined. 2nd down.
That was on the other side. That was McNeil.
Yeah, and that was on a spin. You watch Dwight Freeney is going to come inside on McNeil right here. See, he starts up, then he spins, and when he spins and goes to the inside, McNeil grabs him with his right arm. See him right there, the spin, and see that right hand out there? They held him, but they didn't get Robert Mathis coming from the other side.
Good bookends, 10-yard sack. 2nd down and 20 at the 45-yard line. Inside handoff. And that's a nice play by the cornerback, Marlon Jackson, to take Tomlinson down. Tomlinson looks around and says, he had me by the face mask, and there's no flag.
You talk about this Colt defense, and everyone says the new corners, are so much more physical and better tacklers. That's one of the big improvements of their defense. And Marlon Jackson had to make that play in a draw. Remember, we were showing how Dwight Freeney is a speed pass rusher. So after you get a few speed pass rushes, the next thing you do is you run a draw. Let him go up the field and run inside him. They got inside of Freeney, but they couldn't get away from Marlon Jackson.
Jackson and Kelvin Hayden have done a great job as they get rid of Jason David and Nick Harper. And the pass is caught by Tomlinson, but Rivers had gotten hit that time. And LaDainian for a very short gain. Tim Jennings makes the tackle, and San Diego will have to punt. And the crowd very impatient with the San Diego offense tonight.
Yeah, but look why here. I mean, watch what Dwight Freeney does. He just takes Marcus McNeil and just throws him right back into Phillip Rivers. I'll tell you this thing, I'll tell you this, in the second half, the Colts, 2 defensive ends have picked up their pass rush.
And a little Carter right now is Cyphers kicks. Court's going to call for the fair catch and then let it go. And Peyton Manning will take over at his own 10-yard line. And tonight when Manning's chasing Johnny Unitas for some club records, he winds up tying, of all things, the career interception record for the Colts, or at least single game, of 5. Bill Troop in 1978. Bill going, hey, I'm in the same class with Peyton Manning. From the 10, 1st down. A dive. And taken down from behind. And Merriman makes the tackle. As long as you don't get inside the shoulder pads, that is not a horse tackle.
Now, if you call that a spritz earlier, what do you call this?
A triple spritz.
That's Sean Merriman here. I mean, he can do this. He can come from that backside, run all the way across the field, and make a tackle.
Well, that
could be a horse collar.
That was a horse collar.
Yeah. Well, that was a horse collar, but you know, he's one of those backside guys that you have to block even when you run to the opposite side.
It's tipped at the line of scrimmage, making it 3rd down and 10. We mentioned before, the Chargers very lucky to play in the AFC West. At 5-4, they would be in undisputed possession of first place. But if Indianapolis loses this game, they will have only a 1-game lead over Tennessee and Jacksonville. So the AFC South may be the toughest division, at least top to bottom in the league right now. Manning dancing around. Throws, it's a wobbly pass, but right on target, and Wayne gets free, makes the catch, and a big conversion out to the 35-yard line.
You look at Peyton Manning and you say you know that he can't run and he's not a scrambler, but he just has such a presence in the pocket and such a feel of the pocket. Watch here. I mean, he steps back there. Now he moves just a little to his right to buy some time and gets the ball all the way across the field. I mean, he can't run. He can't run a lick. But I'll tell you, he does have a great feel. I mean, he has great instincts for a quarterback, maybe the best.
There's a dive. He picks up 2. He gets up to the 37-yard line. After Manning with that completion to Wayne for 25 yards. Colts tonight have outgained the Chargers 236 to 144. But if you missed the first half, a kickoff return and a punt return for a touchdown by Darren Sproles early on. The big difference. And the defense of San Diego right now with Manning throwing 5 picks. 2nd and 8.
Get that Charger defense packed in there again. Other wants to get the ball to the outside.
He does. And that is a first down as Ben Mutek, the tight end, makes the catch. Matt Wilhelm, who made interception number 5 of Manning, made the tackle. Manning tonight, the wide receiver depth chart. You can see Reggie Wayne, of course, has been around a long time and has been terrific. Moorhead with only 29 catches coming in, and Thorpe with only 3 career receptions activated tonight, and Thorpe has scored 3 in the game.
Moorhead will keep his eye on the ball.
Under 3 to play in the 3rd. Manning throws, and that is caught, and that is Wayne. And everybody knows, you got Reggie Wayne, you got to cover him. They doubled him that time, and Manning still gets it in to number 87.
Yeah, because that's a guy that he, practices with all the time. I mean, you have to go to a comfort guy, and to be honest, he only has 2 comfort guys out there, and that's his running back, Joseph Adai, and of course, Reggie Wayne.
2nd down and 2 at the 45. Kenton Keith is the back in this set.
So he has one comfort guy, Reggie Wayne. The other guy just come down from Canada.
That's right. And he gives it to the former CFL star, and he takes the ball to the 36-yard line. Kenton Keith picking up a first down. And I mentioned before, Wilhelm made the interception just as it was getting a little nervous in San Diego. It's getting a little nervous again.
I think anytime you have Peyton Manning at quarterback, I think it's going to be a little nervous because he just gets it. He just knows how to do it. There's that stretch play that they just run off tackle, just start to the left and get that first cut, square your shoulders and run upfield.
From the 36-yard line. Manning stepping away from pressure, throws on the run to the 21-yard line, and Aaron Moorhead makes the catch. So Manning buys time, then throws a strike to Moorhead for a first down.
They always talk about the quarterback having a clock in his head. Don't you figure that he has a great clock? I mean, just watch here. He gets the pressure there, goes out. Now he's getting the pressure again, and he knows just in time, Sean Phillips is going to be on my back if I don't get rid of the ball right now.
He has an atomic clock. I think it ticks down in hundredths of a second. It's a 4-yard gain for Kenton Keith, tackled by Matt Wilhelm.
You know, I know that, you know, he's had the interceptions and stuff tonight, but you get quarterbacks and some, you know, they have good arms, they're good leaders, they, you know, make good checks in the line of scrimmage, and some guys just know how to play the game. And I think whatever the game is, Peyton Manning just knows how to play it.
2nd and 7. Caught. Thorpe. Tackled by Weddle, and he has a first down. They're going to put the ball, let's see, inside or outside the 10. If it's on the 10 or inside, it'll be a first down and goal.
Yeah, he has some things going now. I mean, he has that slot stuff going, you know, getting up a seam, you know, putting an overload on one side and going to the backside. I mean, he has some things that he can do now.
They get the play off before the end of the quarter. It's Keith to the 8-yard line. So amazing. We got a night when Manning has thrown 5 interceptions. His team is still in the game. Down by 2 scores, 16 points into 3. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrew Kramer. We go to the 4th. Went to the break saying down by 2 scores. They're down 2 possessions, obviously 2 touchdowns, 2 two-point conversions. Tony Dungy will have that choice to make if they can get into the end zone, whether he goes for 2. I think he would. It's 2nd down and goal. Down by 16 points as we start the 4th quarter. Manning, a little dump off underneath. Keith to the outside he goes, and Keith will get into the end zone for a touchdown. So it is now a 10-point game, and they can make it a 1-possession game with a 2-point conversion attempt, which Manning is out on the field ready to attempt.
Right, and that's exactly what they're going to do, because as you say, 2 possessions, they needed, you know, 2 touchdowns. They get one here on a dump off, or it wasn't even a screen pass. Then they're going to go for 2, and then another touchdown and another 2 would tie the score.
New Colts record for touchdowns, eclipsing the mark held by the legendary Johnny Unitas. That's 291 in his career. Now, can they make it a 1-possession game? Adai is back in the game. Now you've got Fletcher lined up in the backfield as well, flanking Manning out of the shotgun. Colts just went 90 yards in 12 plays. The fake inside. He lofts it to Fletcher. There's a flag down. So for the moment, the conversion is good, pending the call.
That's usually in the area of pass interference or defensive holding. Yep.
So now they're down 1 possession. Peyton Manning and the resilient Indianapolis Colts, 23-15.
I do remember when I coached down here at San Diego State, when you used to fly in, though, you used to fly in so low that you could look right into a restaurant as you would fly in.
What do you mean used to? You
can still do it?
Absolutely. Haven't changed the runway. And the buildings are taller, too.
I thought maybe they would change the restaurant. The restaurant's still there? Because I've been in a restaurant when I've seen the airplanes fly by, too. Which is a lot more comfortable. I don't know. Neither one of them.
It's crazy. You're sitting in a building and the planes are below you. They actually ran some time off the clock on the 2-point conversion, which they shouldn't have. They ran 16 seconds off. That clock should say 14:53 and not 14:37.
Do you think they've figured it out yet?
Looks like. Well, yeah, he's looking up at the clock, so.
Yeah, he is.
They'll ask the clock to be reset.
I just read his lips. He said 14 something.
We had it at 14:53, but whatever.
You know, we were talking about the referee earlier and his guns and seeing him in the parking lot, and he stopped a bus before it hit us. And his brother is on this crew also.
His brother is the back judge. That was Tony's territory, and that was a little brotherly love there as Tony came over to Gene and said, hey, we got to reset the clock.
Right, he just gave him the clock time.
23-15. Here's Sproles, already has 2 touchdowns tonight. Up the middle he comes, and this time the coverage is good, and there's a penalty flag at the 14-yard line.
You know, and I'm sure that's one of the things that at halftime Tony Dungy talked about is kick coverage.
And now they're really nervous in San Diego, where it's raining very hard at the moment. Well, will the San Diego offense finally step up? Take a look at this as we align the stars here tonight. Rivers is averaging less than 6 yards per pass. Tomlinson is averaging about 3.5 yards a carry, and Gates has caught 3 for 26 yards. They need to get something going because it's been special teams and defense that has given them the lead. To the outside, that pass is off the mark, intended for Chris Chambers. It'll be 2nd down and 10, and all of the momentum now, obviously, with the Colts.
Right, and you know that the offense has to be aggressive. We know that Phillip Rivers has to make some plays. The wide receivers, have to get open, but I'm not sure that this is the exact position on the field that you want to do that. And usually after an incomplete first down pass, the 2nd down play is a run. So I would, even though they're in shotgun now, I would anticipate a draw play here.
And in a significant rain. And then Rivers under pressure again, and then that pass is out of bounds. He was under pressure from Dwight Freeney. Nene was going down the sidelines, and it's going to be 3rd down and 10.
And that's a big thing that they have to get, and is the pass protection. Watch Dwight Freeney there. We know that he got Marcus McNeil on that speed rush. So now he gets McNeil to step out, then he spins and goes inside and gets right on Phillip Rivers. This is a time when you need pass rush, and if you think of last week's game against New England, they really didn't get it.
3rd down and 10.
There's another spin.
Oh, and the ball comes out of his grasp, and can it be recovered in the end zone? And it is, for a touchdown by Gary Brackett. So Rivers loses the ball, had a chance to recover it. Here comes Manning for a 2-point conversion, which would tie the game of all crazy things.
Yeah, you thought they'd be cautious down there and just run and get it out of there. This is where you need the pass protection. If you're the Colts, this is where you need the pass rush. That ball just slipped right out of Phillip Rivers' hand. Then he tried to hit it to knock it out of the end zone, out of the back of the end zone, and he didn't get it done.
The classic empty hand. Not even something you'd even think about challenging, because you're not going to win that one.
We were just talking about that rain and how the rain is heavy and how it does have an effect. I mean, it does have an effect on the grip of the football, and we just saw it there with Phillip Rivers.
Norv Turner has watched a 23-0 lead get cut down to 2, and they're a couple of yards away, 2 from making it even. 2-point conversion. Adai, and they're able to stop him. So the Chargers have the lead, but it is a very precarious lead. That's Sean Phillips right there. 21 unanswered points for the Colts. A 2-point San Diego lead. So let's see what happens here with 14:23 remaining in regulation. The ball is at the 22-yard line, and they're going to start this time with Tomlinson. And LaDainian's going to take it up to the 29, and we'll get to that in a second. Let's check in with Andrea.
Well, it's raining as hard and steadily as it has all night, guys. And it was interesting because while Gary Brackett was scoring his touchdown, Adam Vinatieri was on the sidelines changing his cleats right in time before that last kickoff.
The kickoff was still a short one, as on 2nd down and 3 now. John, I was starting to say, if I'm calling the plays for San Diego, I'm calling just 21, 21, 21, 21. And here goes 21, and he gets taken down, but not until he picks up a first down at the 35-yard line.
Right, and you're thinking that right now, and you were probably thinking that on the last series, too. I mean, because they didn't have the good field position, you'd think they'd run it, just get it out of there, and then go to work. And then, of course, they have the fumble. They lose it to a touchdown, and now they come back, and they're just going to run LaDainian Tomlinson. And if this is a guy you give all the money to, if you have a big, good offensive line and a good left side and Chris Neal and Marcus McNeil, you got to go to your money guys. And that's what you pay him to do, is to win games for you.
It was Keontae Dawson who got him down by the shirt. To the outside he goes again, turns the corner, short side of the field, and picks up a couple of yards. Clint Session forces him out of bounds. In fact, it's close to a 4-yard gain, making it 2nd down and 6.
I know what everyone's thinking. Why didn't you do that in the last drive? I mean, why was it 3 passes in a row when you had such poor field position? And maybe because of that, it's making Norv Turner do what he's doing right now on these first 2 series.
Michael Turner comes into the game. Turner, a great backup back, 2nd down and 7 after a 3-yard gain. Turner averages over 6 yards per carry. Rivers is going to throw. Maybe. Underneath, right through the hands of Turner. So Turner, who probably could have picked up a 1st down or been close enough to it, can't handle it. Now a key 3rd down and 7.
We always think of guys slipping. We think of wide receivers and running backs. Watch Dwight Freeney right here. We know what he does. He's spinning. He's trying to get up the field. Then he tries to come to the inside, and he slipped. Well, not only did he slip, it looked like something in his left leg went out.
Yep, and he's off the field. So there is Freeney getting attention on the Colts sideline. He's out on this 3rd down and 7.
This is when the Colts obviously need their pass rushers.
Jeff Charleston takes his spot. From the 39, Rivers under pressure again. Throws off his back foot, and that's Antonio Gates, and the Chargers are looking for a flag, and there is none.
Phillip Rivers was really rushed on that, and it looked like he was kind of trying to throw the ball away, but this time he threw it away to one of his receivers, Antonio Gates. He's right here in the slot. And again, you see him work up and to the outside, and that ball is thrown short. And again, watch Rivers here. He's getting pressure on him, and that's what caused the ball to go up in the air like that.
Yeah, you could have called that one. Chargers looking for a flag and didn't get it.
Now they're looking for punt coverage.
Cyphers booms one into the rainy sky that bounces at the 15. And the Chargers will down it at the 1. I'll tell you what, Cyphers is probably as valuable a guy as they have on the team. He does that a lot. 61 yards. Manning starts from the 1, down by Osgood. Here comes Manning, down by 2. Since he came into the league in '98, Manning 28 game-winning drives in the 4th quarter or overtime. Amazingly, Jake Plummer is the guy who's tied with him. Plummer now retired. Can Manning do it again? He'll start this drive from the 1-yard line. His last drive 90 yards, resulting in a touchdown. Adai is the running back. Wayne in motion. Adai trying to give him some breathing room up to the 3-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8 as the clock ticks down to 12 minutes.
Yeah, eventually this game's going to get down to pass rush and pass protection. And I'm not saying it is right now because we're talking about poor field position here for the Colts, but eventually winning and losing this game is going to be dependent on pass protection against pass rush.
And now we'll take a look at Manning going to work on a 2nd down and 8 from the 3-yard line. Chargers crowd the line. Manning off the play fake. Manning going deep into double coverage, and the pass is incomplete. Try to go to Reggie Wayne, McCree, and Cromartie, doubling them. 3rd down. I know one thing, John. If the Chargers lose this game, I mean, Sports Talk Radio is always over the top anyway. It'll be X-rated here tomorrow.
Well, the one thing Phillip Rivers was saying in that soundbite is you get at the end of the game and you don't want to be too cautious. You don't want to sit on a lead. And if they do lose this game, maybe they started to sit on a lead too soon.
3rd down and 8 from the 3. 4-man line. 4-man rush. Manning under pressure. Throws at the 23-yard line. Reggie Wayne. Chargers say no. The officials say yes. He caught it. Wow.
Again, that's the one thing that he has. And we talk about his comfort zones, and Peyton Manning has it in this guy and Reggie Wayne. I mean, he just knows that, he can put the ball someplace where only Reggie is going to get it. And we talk about Michael Tuduz, the left tackle. We need pass protection down here. You need pass protection down here. He blocks Sean Merriman.
Just a fabulous catch. And there's a challenge. I'll tell you what, though, we'll take another look at this. I thought it was just a fabulous catch. He gets his hands underneath it. The ball is wet. Manning's under pressure. It's as low as you can throw it.
But that's not a bad place to throw it. You know, you've never seen a ball thrown there ever intercepted.
Right. Turner's going to challenge. Back in a minute. Just a fabulous catch by Wayne going down. The ball is wet. The grass is wet. He's going to the ground. Keeps his hands underneath it. Huge first down.
You see how Peyton Manning steps up and makes himself taller? And that's, you know, it's a big hole in a zone, and that's not a bad place to throw it, because when you throw in the middle, you know, sometimes if you're a little high, that ball gets tipped and it's intercepted. You throw it down there, your guy goes and gets it, and it can't be intercepted.
You don't make that play, you're punting from your end zone. Instead, they're out at the 23 in a game in which they're trailing by only 2. San Diego out of challenges. We've lost a timeout to boot. Wayne has now caught 10 passes tonight. Here's Andrea.
Yeah, guys, well, they took Dwight Freeney off to the locker room in a cart. His left foot is what they're saying was injured. Now, I was watching him on the sidelines. They were examining his foot. He tried to stand up and bear weight. He was wincing in a tremendous amount of pain, couldn't do anything at all, and finally he was taken off.
And he got that on that spin play when he was spinning to go to the inside of Marcus McNeil, and looked like his foot and or ankle or leg just gave out.
Second and a deuce. A die. Out to the 41-yard line. So they start at the 1. They're already at the 41. Sean Phillips making the tackle. Indianapolis has outgained San Diego tonight 338 to 152.
And you start the passing game, and that loosens things up for the running game. And look at the center and the left guard there. They just completely control the middle of that Charger defense. Ryan Lilch and Jeff Saturday.
Last week, the Chargers were outgained by 299 yards.
Manning makes a check, and then the Chargers make a check on defense.
First down, Manning throws, and that's caught. He threw it a little behind Fletcher, but he reaches back and makes the catch in front of Cooper.
You know, Stephen Cooper is up there. Watch him here, 54. When Peyton Manning says something and makes a check, he makes a check. Watch him get up here and just get as close to Peyton Manning as he can and listen to everything he says and watch for every gesture he makes.
That was a 6-yard gain. It's second down now and 4. Manning out of the gun. Rolling to his right. And he'll get out of the pocket and just throw that one away as the secondary does its job. He's chased by Merriman.
And he knows that he can do that. Is once you get outside the tackle box, once you get outside where your offensive tackle lines up, you can throw the ball away if you throw it to the line of scrimmage. Yeah, there's a point there when you get out of the pocket that you become a runner. So then the defense can play a run defense. So when they say it was holding, if this were a pass, it would be holding. But when he's outside the pocket and he's a runner, then you can say that that's run defense. Although I still think that could have been called holding, because maybe if that guy doesn't do that, maybe he completes the pass.
All depending on where Manning was at that moment. Manning starts to slip, then throws, and is still able to complete it into the arms of Crafonzo Thorpe. So they are now into San Diego territory and a first down or two away from a potential field goal on a 10-yard gain.
And I believe Peyton Manning is making these throws on purpose. That he doesn't want to get the ball up in the air. One, because it's wet. He doesn't want it tipped. That instead of throwing it up in the air, he's throwing it down and making his guys go down to the ground and come back towards him.
From the 44 to the ground to a die, and Jacques Césaire, taking the spot of the injured Castillo, is there to stop him just past the line of scrimmage. He'll be credited with a 2-yard gain, 2nd down and 8.
Saying that eventually this is going to be a pass rush game and a pass protection game, and I think we're going to start to see it in these next couple downs. Pass rush of the Chargers, pass protection of the Colts.
This drive started at the 1. This will be the 10th play of the drive. Charger defense has been on the field a long time in the second half. Manning going deep into double coverage, and that's incomplete. Intended for Wayne, and he will obviously draw a crowd for the rest of the night. Hart and Florence are there bracketing him.
Some guys are spotted. They run in and they run out. They have a couple plays and they come out. Don't you think that Reggie Wayne has to be dead tired? I mean, he has played every position. He has run every down, and he has been the primary receiver on every deep pass for the Colts tonight.
And that 3rd down catch, was just fabulous on this drive. 3rd down and 8. From the 42. Manning going deep down the right side, and it is incomplete. And Moorhead looks for the flag. He's covered by Eric Weddle. There is no flag. Just for a split second, it almost looked like the official was going to reach for his flag and then thought otherwise.
Right, and that's the matchup. Peyton Manning is looking for this matchup, a safety against your wide receiver. You're throwing the ball against a rookie. He puts it right in there. That could have been pass interference.
Absolutely.
I think Weddle's left hand gets on Moorhead before the ball gets there.
And just for a second, the way the hands come toward the body, the hips, there was a thought about calling it, but they didn't. Sproles to run the kickback. He's already run a punt back for a touchdown tonight. This time a fair catch is called for and made at the 14-yard line. But Manning took them from their own 1 into Charger territory. 7:21 left. Tight game. Manning and Wayne doing their best to turn what was a certain defeat, down 23-0, into the most improbable of wins. Down by 2. San Diego now begins its drive from the 14-yard line. They fake it to Tomlinson. Rivers throws, and that's caught. And it is Vincent Jackson making the catch, and he will be spotted shy of the first down. Hayden in on the coverage. It'll be 2nd down and 1.
And this is the point here. Phillip Rivers is going to have to make some plays. That you can get a team to that. I know that the Colt defense said that they wanted to do that to the Chargers. They wanted to make them one-dimensional. They wanted to take away LT, and they wanted to make Phillip Rivers have to beat them.
2nd and a short 1. The fullback, Neal, bowling balls his way out to the 33-yard line, and a first down for San Diego. And now what the Chargers will need to do too is chew up as much of the clock as they can. Looking ahead, Indy has all of its timeouts.
That's not a bad thing. You can see he's going to get right behind Chris Dealman, his left guard there, and McNeil, and they kind of collapse that side, and Lorenzo Neal just runs right off those blocks into the mud. That's always a good look. The big blocking fullback carrying for a first down and coming up with a divot in his head. Can't beat that.
That's football. And that is tipped, and it is intercepted. Picked off by Clint Session. And Session goes down, and the whistle sounds at the 42-yard line. And it will be Indianapolis's ball as Session, who had a pick before in the end zone, and then the inadvertent whistle cost him about a 95-yard return, picks off another one, the rookie out of Pittsburgh. There's nothing to challenge here because you don't have a challenge, for starters.
I think what they're saying here is that he was down by contact.
Right, but even when Turner was looking up.
He's down there. Well, he was up there, really.
Yep, he was up, and then he's down. And he threw it back up is what he did. But even if you wanted to challenge the interception, and this is pretty close because he seems to get his hands under the ball, but they could have taken a look. Turner is out of challenges. So they give it back to Indianapolis at the San Diego 42-yard line. And Manning now with alacrity gets him to the line of scrimmage and hands the ball off to Joseph Adai for a gain of 1. Flag. Chargers might have had 12 guys out there.
The old 4-4-4. Yeah, you see, here's the guy that they caught. And anytime Peyton Manning sees that, he's going to snap the ball. And he just snaps the ball and gets 12 men on the field, and then he ends up with a 1st and 5.
And that's why I said with alacrity, he could see that Ryan Bingham on the field. He got the snap, he got the penalty. It's 1st down and 5. Adai to the 35-yard line. One more 1st down puts them in field goal range, though Vinatieri has not had a lot of success from the high 40s.
This is a time that even though you're down by 2, you still take your time. I mean, you want to take time off the clock because, when you score and you believe you're going to score, you don't want to give the Chargers a lot of time.
2nd down and 3. Manning to the outside. That's caught. That's a 1st down. That's Aaron Moorhead. Under 5 to play. Eric Weddle makes the tackle.
And we talk about, pass protection, and Michael Tuduz, the left tackle here, is doing a good job on Sean Merriman. I mean, that's very good. I mean, he stayed square on him. He got his hands up on him and didn't let him go anywhere near Peyton Manning. That guy's playing well. I mean, he really is. For a guy that was on the practice squad that just activated him today.
Yeah.
And then you play in a big game like this.
On the 30-yard line, here's Adai looking for some room. Gets tackled at the 27, but for Manning, exactly what John was talking about here. This is the perfect kind of a drive. Just keep grinding it out, and you're taking all the time you can off the clock in addition.
Yeah, because in this situation, once the Colts would get here and Peyton Manning would get here, they would take a shot at the end zone. And I don't think they're going to now because I think they want to run some more time off the clock.
Freeney gone, and you saw the 2 offensive guys who were gone. And there is the defensive tackle, Dawson. 2nd down and 6. And Adai slips and goes down. And that was Clinton Hart coming through. So they're at the 28-yard line right now. You got a 3rd down and 8. And if they don't gain a yard here, Vinatieri would be coming out for about a 46-yard attempt.
I think you have to throw for the 1st down. I mean, this is what Peyton Manning does. This is what the Colts do. This isn't some average or mediocre team. This is a great quarterback in a big-time situation here. And I think he'll throw for the 1st down.
3 minutes to go. On 3rd down and 8. Steps away from pressure. Adai on the outside. He has the 1st down and stays in bounds, gets to the 16-yard line, and they can take this clock way down now. Kerfonso Thorpe with a block. Huge completion here.
I said this game was going to boil down to pass rush and pass protection, and the Colts are getting the protection. You'd think, geez, they're all beat up. They don't have their offensive line in there. The Chargers have Merriman, on one side, Sean Phillips on the other side. They'll get after Peyton Manning. They haven't. The Colts offensive line is winning that battle.
And San Diego takes a timeout.
Well, that was the thing that we were talking about, is that the Colts were trying to take time so that the Chargers wouldn't get the ball back, so he takes the timeout.
Among other things, if you don't take the timeout there, they're going to have to run a play before the 40-second clock expires. You can then take a timeout on the other side of the 2-minute warning. They just cost themselves a down here by doing that as well. So among other things, and now down to 1 timeout. I'll tell you what, if Indianapolis wins this game, this will be one of the most improbable victories I have ever seen.
Well, and if they win it, it's just going to add to the legacy of Peyton Manning. I mean, he could, with this group, with those interceptions, could still win a game.
and Tony Dungy. 1st and 10 from the 16-yard line. Adai slips.
Now, I think that field in the rain is starting to come into play in this second half. You talked about that new area that they put in the field, but they resodded the entire field this week. So this is a relatively new field, and then you have the rain, and we do have a little slippage.
A little slippage, and right now you've got San Diego taking its final timeout. So the only time the clock can be stopped now is at the 2-minute warning. If they pick up a first down, in effect, they can take it all the way down to a game-ending field goal. Meanwhile, in the second half, which started with a 16-point lead, you had this long drive capped off by Kenton Keith taking the pass, getting into the end zone. And then it was Fletcher getting in. And then the big play here, Rivers with the empty hand, the slick ball. It began to rain. They couldn't even get it out of the end zone. Brackett recovers. The big interception here by the rookie Session. And now with play back in on 2nd down and 10, the ball is at the 16-yard line. Here's Adai. And Adai will take the ball to the 9-yard line. That's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. It's going to take us to about a 3rd down and 3. And if they can pick up the first down, as we say, they can tick it all the way down to a potential Vinatieri game-winning field goal.
We were watching that shot earlier of Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, talking to Peyton Manning, and I just thought back that when we did a game with him the last time, he was saying one thing about having a system and being with a quarterback for a long time. When something goes wrong, you know how to fix it. They've done a great job of fixing tonight.
2-minute warning. Two minutes to play. San Diego does not have a timeout. It boils down to Manning now on 3rd and 3 on the Colts. If they pick up the first down, they can run it down to a game-ending field goal, a short one, or bring Vinatieri on 4th down and leave San Diego with the opportunity for a game-winning field goal, but no timeouts. 3rd and 3. Adai. And Adai is very close to a first down. And if they spot it across the yellow stripe, which it appears they will, it will move the chains, and they can run it down as far as they want.
If this is a first down, which it looks like it is, then you still have a decision. You keep running plays, but at some point you want to take a shot to score a touchdown too. You don't want to say if you just wait just for the field goal attempt, then that just gives you one-way go. By going and trying to get the touchdown, then if you don't make it, settle for a field goal, you have a two-way go.
This is something you can look at the spot upstairs. So in other words, Turner can't do anything about this. They could conceivably stop it and look upstairs. I said the only downside to going for the end zone is even if you score a touchdown, then you're still going to give San Diego the ball back. The option being, Vinatieri. They're going to look at it upstairs, by the way. They are going to take a peek at this spot because it's a huge one. And upstairs.
And again, what the rule is where the ball is when this first part of his body touches.
Well, the ball appears to be at the 6 1/16 yard line.
Yeah, right. It's just short of the 6-yard line.
There's the ball.
Yeah, see, the first thing to go down is the ball, so it would be right where the ball is. You would just leave it right there and spot it right there.
Just outside the 6-yard line.
Right there. Oops.
They had to get to the 6-yard line. The 6-yard line is where they had to go. So,
if that's true,
this crew's had a busy night.
They didn't get to the 6-yard line.
No, I don't think they did. After looking at that replay, they had to get to the 6-yard line. They're going to be a couple of inches short of the first down if they spot it where I think they're going to spot it. There's the stick. It's right on, as you can see, it's right on the 6.
And you just look where the ball is right there in the hash mark. You see the hash mark there right here. That's the 6-yard line, that hash mark. And so it has to reach that hash mark. See, and it looks like it's a little short of that hash mark.
Right.
Boy, will that be a call if they make this 4th down.
Wow. Yeah, well then you have to think. I mean, you have Adam Vinatieri, you have to try to kick the field goal, but who knows? The way this game is going right now.
No, if they overturn this, or if they say this isn't a 1st down, if this is 4th down, I think you have to kick it.
Absolutely. I mean, I would, but here's Dungy. Tony going down to talk to Manning, and Peyton is saying, "Hey, look, I think we got it." But and Tom Moore is there, and Howard Mudd comes in for.
Right. Well, they have to think ahead. So what they're doing is they're coming up with a plan. If it's not 1st down, what do we do? And Peyton Manning's going in there, so he has a couple thoughts in his mind. If it is a 1st down, this is what we want to do. If it's 4th down, this is what we want to do.
I would think, if nothing else, they might line up to go for it on 4th down and at least try to draw San Diego offside.
And if they had to go to the hash mark, or if it had to go to the 6-yard line, and it's short of the 6-yard line, it will also be short of the 1st down. You can see a ball again in relationship to that hash mark. You can see that it was short of it when it came down.
Right, so the ball has been spotted. Here come the sticks. They should be inches short. And they are.
Ooh, they had to get a little past the 6-yard line.
Wow. All right.
And now the Colts have to kick the field goal here. I mean, you
have to.
You don't want to. You'd like to run a quarterback sneak, get a 1st down. You'd like to do all those things, but.
Well, what Tony's saying right now, I think, as I suggested, they're going to probably line up. They're going to bring Vinatieri back. If nothing else, Manning will line up to try to draw them offside, and maybe even run. I tell you what, I wouldn't put it past them to run a play, even as crazy as that sounds. He said, if nothing else, it would give San Diego no opportunity to come from behind. A field goal would give them, a minute and 45 or so.
I think that would be too crazy to run a play here. I really do.
I agree with you. But this has been a crazy game. 4th and inches.
And you're dealing with the Super Bowl champion Colts and Peyton Manning. No, they aren't going to snap it.
No.
Although there is a penalty.
Well, I thought they moved on the offensive front. Yeah. Ben Utek. So they did line up to try to get him offside. Instead, now you got Vinatieri coming out for still a chip shot field goal.
You see they're going to switch here. I mean, they're all right there. I don't know what they did wrong.
It's simulating a snap.
No one that couldn't move did move.
Yep. Well, I guess it was simulating.
It was a shift. The ball hadn't been snapped.
Right, but they tried to make it look like the ball was being snapped. I think that was the call because it wasn't a false start.
No. I mean, anyone that moved and or shifted could have moved or shifted. The ball wasn't snapped and the line stayed set.
Right. It's an illegal movement is what it is. It's not to be confused with a false start. If you make it look as if you're snapping the ball, and it was a pretty pronounced movement that Utek made backwards, and Dungy's arguing that case right now, but I think the officials have a pretty good case for it here. And as I say, no false start, just simulating a snap.
Right. I mean, he just moves back, and then you have a shift. Then you have Wayne up there, and I kind of agree with Tony Dungy there. I don't see anything wrong with it. Although, if they don't call it, I don't know what that buys him other than the opportunity to do something that we thought he shouldn't have done in the first place. Let's go for it on 4th down. I mean, that took that away, or that opportunity, or the opportunity to run a fourth down play, and it really forced him into this situation, which I think we both felt was a situation he should be in anyway.
Now Vinatieri from 29 yards. Hunter Smith holds Justin Snow to snap to give Indy the lead. San Diego will get the ball back without a timeout. 29-yard attempt. And Vinatieri's kick is no good. Wow. That is unbelievable. Norv Turner must feel that the floor came back under the gallows. That the floor was coming out from underneath, and then somebody put the floor back in.
As you said, this is unbelievable. I mean, the perfect position. You have Adam Vinatieri.
I'll tell you one thing, though. The game is not over.
Right. No,
Indianapolis has 2 timeouts on defense. They can get the ball back. And I wonder what Mike Vanderjagt is thinking at the moment. Never mind. The ball is at the 20-yard line. First down. Neal to the outside. He definitely doesn't want to step out of bounds. He goes to the 25. Gain of 5. Indy will take its first remaining timeout here. They have 1 more remaining. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Get all the football action from NBC Sports right on your VCast phone. By Campbell's Chunky, official soup and chili sponsor of the NFL. By eBay, shop victoriously. And by McDonald's.
You know, we always talk about football being a game of inches. Isn't this something? I mean, the Colts had the first down, then they review it, and it's a couple inches. They take it away from them, then they attempt a field goal and miss it.
And miss a field goal by inches. And Peyton Manning, I mean, what can you think? If you're Peyton Manning right now, you've just had your first 5 interception game of your career. You have 15 able bodies right now on offense. You almost pulled off a miracle comeback against the team, at least thought of at the beginning of the season as a premier team. And on 2nd down and 5, you give it to Tomlinson, and he goes nowhere. And here is your final timeout. So, with 1:17, if you run a running play and you don't get a first down, it takes you to about 1:12 or so. Then they take the 40-second clock down, but they're going to leave Indianapolis with a little bit of time.
Yeah, they'll
20 or so seconds at the end of the game.
They'll have about 20 seconds at the end of the game if they can stop them here on 3rd down, because you know then they would punt and the clock does stop at change of possession.
A long time ago, ladies and gentlemen, Darren Sproles ran the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. He also ran a punt back for a touchdown. Manning threw 4 picks in the first half. He has 5 in the game. It was 23-0 at one point. Indianapolis held together, especially offensively, by paste and glue. Vinatieri missed a fire drill field goal at the end of the first half. Misses a 29-yarder here after a booth review. And the game is still not over. It will be with a first down.
Right, and I think Peyton Manning just realized that he's going to get about 20 more seconds if they can stop him here.
Tomlinson, he can't get the first, so they're going to get the ball back. The ball is at the 27-yard line. So now you've got the clock ticking down under a minute, and they'll take as much time as they can off the play clock. And here is where special teams is extremely important right now. They've got one of the best punters in the league. Good punt coverage. Thorpe goes back to return the kick. Cyphers sets up at his own 12-yard line. And again, all Indy needs is to get into field goal range, whatever that is at this particular point in time.
And remember, the clock will stop after the return guy's tackled.
He's had better kicks. but that'll take some extra time off. That's the only good part of it for Cyphers as it rolls to a stop at the 33-yard line.
So now do you think this crowd feels comfortable?
They haven't felt comfortable for about 2 hours.
Right, and here they are. The Colts have no timeouts. They're down by 2 points, and Adam Vinatieri is looking for redemption.
Norv is in the gallows again. The ball is at the 33. Stack him up to the left. Bunch him. Wayne's the front guy. Now he becomes the back guy. Now they try to hide him. Manning looking that way. Manning throwing down the left sideline, and that's out of bounds with 16 seconds. So among the things Peyton has to think about here, if you don't work the sideline, is you're almost compelled to work the sideline here. Because if you have a long completion down the middle of the field, you still have to get down there and spike it to set up a field goal attempt. That's risky.
Right, and that's exactly what he has to do. I mean, he has to get the ball to the outside, but he has to get a pretty big chunk.
Manning down the sideline again, and that's almost picked off and out of bounds off the hands of Clinton Hart with 9 seconds remaining.
I'll say this, the Chargers are doing an excellent job of taking the outside away. I mean, you know, we say that he has to throw in a big chunk, that he has to get the ball to the outside. The Chargers are really taking that away. Because I know if he goes to the middle, like you say, they couldn't do anything about it.
9 seconds.
Now this crowd's into it. Now you're talking.
Oh, boy.
Well, they were up and down again, and now they're up.
4-man rush. Manning deep, and only the Chargers are there, and Clinton Hart with the interception. And the Chargers have pulled off the greatest escape since Charles Bronson.
You are right.
Wow. If they'd have lost this game, I don't want to tell you.